Next, we want to go into laws of Maxim. So, with laws of Maxim, these laws of Maxim are also known as God's law. Now, you can also find these as maxims of law, laws of Maxim or maxims of law. And basically, maxims meaning the max, the highest. Now, any court, why are these so important? Now, I just told you they're known as God's laws, but these come straight from the Bible. If you go into court, you want to have these laws. I told you we have these in the beginner law book. You want to have these laws on record before you step into any court. Why? Because what you're saying is these are the laws that your God has ordained for you. What are these laws talking about? These laws are saying you have the right to travel this planet without governmental documentation. You've got the right to create documents. Nobody can force you into a contract. You have the right to bear arms. All of these different rights that you have. That's what is in these maxims of law. And so it's important for us to recognize that, we have a God. Listen, I'm just telling you this. Whether you're an atheist or not, whatever your religion is, this is not about religion. What this is I need you to understand that those who are playing this game at the highest level, they believe there is a God. Whether you believe there's one or not, they believe there is. And so when you walk into court, the last thing you want to be coming out of your, I ain't no God, I don't believe, I'm an atheist. Keep that to yourself. Just pretend like there is one, because when you walk into this place, this so-called court of law, if you're walking in with this mindset, then you have thrown away all of your power. Now, I'm just making that clear. I'm not even concerned about what your religion is. I'm not concerned about how you believe or where you pray at or how many times a day you pray or if you don't pray. I'm telling you what the laws are and the rules are when you walk into this place. If you go into there with this mindset of talking about there's no God or what have you, you have thrown away all of your power. But the moment you make it clear who your God is and what the laws are and what your God says is ordained for you, it has to be respected. Let's make that clear. So if you desire to have respect and some semblance of law and ability and power when you step into this place, then make sure you establish that you have a God and what that God has set for you. All right? So that's laws of Maxim or maxims of law. And let me make this clear. These laws, we haven't even talked about man's laws all the way down here, code, statutes, and ordinances. See how high they stand on this chart. They stand very high. And so the only thing, let's make it clear what happens when we go into a quote-unquote court of law and how this works. Before we go into a court, we're always going to send in our own documentation or a presentment or a court of law. Court of law is where you're writing and you're making your statement. Okay? Boom. This is a court. See, it's got four corners. This is a court of law. When I write my rules on this court of law, then when I put it into the court, my court precedes whatever the rules are of that court I'm about to walk into. This is why you want to include the maxims of law with your court. All right. Now, what happens when you establish your court, what you're saying in here is you're telling what the rules are. So what now happens is when they're trying to come at you with a code, statute, or ordinance, you can make it clear. Well, my God says that I'm under these laws, and codes, statutes, and ordinances do not apply in this court. That's what you're doing. You're establishing the rules of your court. Okay? And so now what happens when they're coming at you with all of these codes or what have you, or even, let me make this clear. On this document, you are not going to find case law. Case law is garbage. I'm going to say it again. Case law is garbage law. What it is the opinion of a judge. And I know all, you'll hear a lot of people, such and such versus such and such, and on such and such. And listen, if you want to use that, you can use that, but we don't use that because whatever God has said up here is always to our advantage. Why would I want to use case law and what a servant judge, because a judge is nothing more than a servant. Where's a servant? Servant is really all the way down here. Servant is really at the bottom of the chart. A servant is underneath a citizen. So if I got what God said up here, and I got a judge who's a servant down here, whose law stands above who? So then if I have these laws here that say that God says my rights are this, well, who is a judge to tell me any different? So why am I going to use what you got to say versus what God said? So I'm never needing a judge to back up what God said. I don't have no need for that. All right? So I'm making it clear to help you understand the true power of these laws of Maxim or maxims of law, and why you want to make sure you put them on record for yourself so that it's clear what your God said.